Miracle Mind Training. So welcome to the Miracle Mind Training. 30 minutes to go, and wonderful to meet again in this beautiful experiment called the Miracle Mind Training. 30 minutes refresher. 30 seconds will be very short, but 30 minutes, it's okay. It's really great. So today I'm basically looking already forward to later today when we have the master teacher tape group. It's all different names, and so in the talk that we're listening to later on, master teacher refers to a very specific chapter 26, the transition chapter. Now that's a really beautiful chapter. It's about the borderland and the new world, the real world. And so that's what we use today as inspiration for the mind training. And you see that everything is given to us, like even in this chapter 2, there's all references to training your mind in a systematic way to discover, oh, everything is already given me. Oh, it is happening within me. Oh, it's happening right now. Oh, and on, like there are more discoveries to be made in the sense of things that fall away that you don't have to do. So that's one part that we do. The other, of course, is the real lesson, the random number lesson that we're going to do. And we have the quiz. So the let go activation will start in a moment, but now here's our quiz. And it is from which chapter is this? Well, it doesn't really matter. It is just, if you know it, you can share it. If you don't know it, that's fine too. I will tell you. So that takes away all the tension of achievement. So don't worry about it. But the questions that are asked here is quite something. There are 4 questions. And so there's like the first 3 are easy, it's what it says. And then the 4th is the one that might take a moment to say complete yes to it. But anyway, it's very transformative. That's why I love to share it. I think it's the unanswered question in the blue book, but I'm not sure. So, do I desire a world I rule instead of one where I am ruled? Do I desire a world I rule instead of one where I am ruled? Yeah, you say, yeah, of course, yeah. Do I desire a world where I am powerful instead of helpless? Well, that would be really nice. Yes. Do I desire a world in which I have no enemies and cannot sin? Wow, that would be wonderful. Yes, I want that. I do desire that. Now here's the 4th question. Do I want to see what I denied because it is the truth? Do I want to see what I denied because it is the truth? If that answer is completely yes, the inevitable thing that's going to happen is that you actually start to see with true perception. So these 4 questions, I can share it with you. If you have any idea from which chapter this is not from chapter 26, but it's actually from chapter 21. And really beautiful, really lovely. So ponder this. I'll share it with you. I'll put it in the app and you can take a look at it. So that's really wonderful. Now we head over to our let go activation, and today that is with this chapter 26. The world you see is based on sacrifice of oneness. It is a picture of a complete disunity and a total lack of joining. The world you see is based on sacrifice of oneness. It is a picture of a complete disunity and total lack of joining. Now that you might not recognize it right away, simple as that. You might think like, well, it's not that bad, is it? Like, well, we're going to take a look at it. There will be some examples here that might you show something. Like the world you see is based on sacrifice of oneness. You sacrifice oneness by becoming special, by becoming something that cannot actually exist at all. An autonomous human being, for instance, or thinking like, I'm doing pretty good, my neighbor is not doing so good, but I'm doing pretty good, or vice versa. It is a picture of a complete disunity and total lack of joining. So even in your transformation, you can experience this, like in how you experience your world. You might think that others are in a different level of awareness, or that somebody cannot understand what you're saying because of your spiritual ideas or your spiritual level of awareness. Like these comparisons that you make, like these are just regular thoughts that you can have. This is one thing. Or thinking that you cannot follow what a spiritual teacher is saying because you think that you're less on a lower level hearing this. See, these are all just as one example. I mean, there are many, of course, but as one example, you think that you're different. Why? Because you compare. Why? Because this is a world of differences that you are familiar with. It's continuously, when you perceive a difference, and you sure will today, you will perceive a difference. As soon as you do, you have sacrificed oneness, and you feel that you're separate and alone, whether you allow that feeling to come up deeply or not. Like if you're already a bit like not so sturdy, not so strong in your defenses, then this might really hit you hard. But if you're strong in denial, this is really the opposite way, isn't it? It's like if you're an autonomous human being with the certainty of, yeah, I'm doing pretty good, yeah, then like you have your defenses basically high up because you seem to function as an autonomous human being. What did you do? You just sacrificed oneness. You just sacrificed oneness. So this is what I mean, like you might not even be aware of it, that it actually is something that you're doing. Thinking that you're less, thinking that you're more, thinking that you're different, thinking that all these considerations you can have about yourself. Like, is any of that true? No. No, it goes further than that. It is not only not true, but it is a sacrifice of oneness. You literally say like, no, I don't need the love of God. I got my own kingdom here and I'm doing pretty good. Like this is so familiar, right? I hope that you recognize it too. I do. Yeah. So this is just one sentence. Can you imagine how powerful this is? Or this shut, like this literally shatters your defenses. It is a picture of complete disunity and total lack of joining. Like the whole idea that you can perceive differences is one thing. That I perceive differences is one thing, but imagine I perceive lack or limitation. I see myself as weak. I see myself as guilty. I see myself as sad. I see myself as depressed. I see myself as, autonomous was one thing, as better than others, or smarter, or who knows what, higher IQ. I compare myself. Like all this is a sacrifice of oneness, a complete destruction, you could say, of your experience of unity. Not necessary. So here's the let go activation. You don't have to do that. You don't have to hold on to any idea you hold about yourself. What are the ideas that you hold about yourself? Are meaningless ideas. They don't mean anything. They have no power. They don't do anything except putting you in like a cell where you can be isolated as much as you like. So total turnaround here. A total miraculous occurrence is taking place. Can you tell? Like, that is not what is asked of you to do. You don't have to isolate yourself. You don't have to, you don't have to experience disunity. That's why there's no sense for you. And we saw this yesterday too. It's like it makes no sense for you to look for answers in the world, or thinking that the world can give you something that will complete you. No, like here we turn everything around. One part of chapter 26 is also like the immediacy of salvation. Salvation is then to become free of the idea that you think there's something outside yourself that can save you. Whether that's a relationship, whether that's a person, whether that's winning $1 billion lottery ticket, whether you name it, like anything that you hope for, that you think is going to change your situation. Not true. It's not going to give you anything. So all that can go. It's a real good let go material. Really great, wonderful. For if they joined, each one would lose its own identity, and by their separation are their selves maintained. The little that the body fences off becomes the self. The little that the body fences off becomes the self, preserved through sacrifice of all the rest. And all the rest must lose this little part, remaining incomplete, to keep its own identity intact. Wow, so I go back a little bit. It's a picture of a complete disunity and total lack of joining. For if they joined, each one would lose its own identity, and by their separation are their selves maintained. The little that the body fences off becomes the self, preserved through sacrifice of all the rest. And all the rest must lose this little part, remaining incomplete, to keep its own identity intact. In this perception of yourself, the body's loss would be a sacrifice indeed. A sight of bodies becomes the sign that sacrifice is limited, and something still remains for you alone. For this little you to belong to you are limits placed on everything outside, just as they are on everything you think is yours. For giving and receiving are the same. Wait a minute. In this perception of yourself, the body's loss would be a sacrifice indeed, right? If you see yourself as a body, then the body's loss would be a sacrifice. But that's only because you have made that like little speck, you could say, that's little speck of dust, what you can call a body in this gigantic universe. You make that as yourself. You literally use that as yourself. Like, here's the sacrifice of oneness complete. Now you are a separate, autonomous human being in a body walking around planet Earth. And if you lose that body, that would be a real sacrifice. And sight of bodies becomes the sign that sacrifice is limited, and something still remains for you alone. And for this little to belong to you are limits placed on everything outside, just as they are on everything you think is yours. For giving and receiving are the same. And why do we do that? Just for your sense of safety. You really think that you need to protect yourself, since you're so vulnerable. If you would lose your body, you would lose everything. So your whole life then becomes like based on protecting yourself, that at least you try to keep the body intact and protect it and defend it and do all the things that you do with it in order to maintain the safety and security that you expect from it. And that fails continuously. That never really works. But you keep trying to do that until you recognize what it is that you're doing. Now here is the let go activation. You don't need to hold on to your idea as being a body in a world where you need to protect yourself and put limits on everything in order for you to maintain and sustain your existence. That is what you don't have to do. So this is quite something, isn't it? Like, how much does this refer to the lessons? Well, totally. In my defenselessness lies my safety. In my defenselessness lies my safety. Not in trying to save my body and placing limits outside myself in order to keep my body safe and my security and my limited idea about myself safe. No, I'm not a body. I'm free. I'm still as God created me. Here we have the link with the previous days, like even on Sunday with Joel's teaching, we were talking about you're not in this body. Like you are consciousness, you're a mind, you are that. You're not a body. So mind doesn't need protection. Like mind needs training. Okay, if you believe yourself to be a body, it needs training. Recognizing that was just another idea in your mind that wasn't true. Thinking that you are this body and identifying with it is just a mistake, that's all. It is not what you are. Now this becomes more and more obvious when we proceed doing the lessons. And you discover this. I'm not a body, I'm light. I'm the light of the world. Like I'm literally, if I let go of this idea that I'm a body, suddenly I shift into a whole different experience where I see like, I am communicating with my brother. It's working perfectly. There's only one of us. Like, here's oneness restored by just that. So I do a number from 50 to 100. Here we go. Regenerate 171. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Now, I would love to read that together. So who wants to start with this? If you can read it, that would be lovely. If you can't see it, get your book up on your lap. 71 it is. Only God's plan for salvation will work. Who wants to read?
Yes. Seul le plan de Dieu pour le salut marchera. Tu ne te rends peut-être pas compte que l'ego a monté un plan pour le salut en opposition à celui de Dieu. C'est en ce plan que tu crois. Puisqu'il est l'opposé de celui de Dieu, tu crois aussi qu'accepter le plan de Dieu à la place de celui de l'ego, c'est être damné. Cela semble grotesque, bien sûr. Or, après avoir considéré ce qu'est exactement le plan de l'ego, tu te rendras peut-être compte que si grotesque qu'il puisse être, tu y crois vraiment.
Thank you.
The ego's plan for salvation centers around holding grievances. It maintains that if someone else spoke or acted differently, if some external circumstance or event were changed, you would be saved. Thus, the source of salvation is constantly perceived as outside yourself. Each grievance you hold is a declaration, an assertion in which you believe that says, if this were different, I would be saved. The change of mind necessary for salvation is thus demanded of everyone and everything except yourself.
Thank you.
The role assigned to your own mind in this plan, then, is simply to determine that other than itself must change if you are to be saved. According to this insane plan, any perceived source of salvation is acceptable provided that it will not work. This ensures that the fruitless search will continue, for the illusion persists that although this hope has always failed, there is still grounds for hope in other places and in other things. Another person will yet serve better. Another situation will yet offer success.
Et le plan de l'ego pour ton salut. Tu peux sûrement voir comme il s'accorde strictement avec la doctrine fondamentale de l'ego. Cherche, mais ne trouve pas, car quelle plus sûre garantie peut-il y avoir de ne pas trouver le salut que de canaliser tous tes efforts à le chercher où il n'est pas.
God's plan for salvation works simply because, by following his direction, you seek for salvation where it is. But if you are to succeed, as God promises you will, you must be willing to seek there only. Otherwise, your purpose is divided, and you will attempt to follow two plans for salvation that are diametrically opposed in all ways. The result can only bring confusion, misery, and a deep sense of failure and despair.
How can you escape this? Very simply, the idea for today is the answer. Only God's plan for salvation will work. There can be no real conflict about this because there is no possible alternative to God's plan that will save you. His is the only plan that is certain in its outcome. His is the only plan that must succeed.
Remember this. Let us devote the remainder of the extended practice periods to asking God to reveal his plan to us. Ask him very specifically, what would you have me do? Where would you have me go? What would you have me say, and to whom? Only God's plan for salvation will work. All right, so this is, of course, the short version of the lesson. But anyway, that's I'm really happy that we read this, and it's a great lesson. So the practice of it in listening is great with these questions, like show me where to go, show me what to say, show me who to meet, like all of this question. Like you want the salvation to come with you during your day and not losing it somewhere and thinking it is outside yourself. No, you want to take that with you. You want to practice this. So this is like a total inspiration for the mind training. Like, where do you want me to go? Spirit, tell me. I have no idea. Show me what to say. I have no idea how to respond to any of this. I don't know what to look for in this world. I don't want any of it. I want pure instruction, or like guidance during my day. I want to stay in this certainty that all of that is given me. So this is where this is about. So thank you so much for today. Thank you so much for joining. And this was the Miracle Mind Training 30 minutes. It's a nice concentrated way of training your mind, but we touch a lot of aspects, and there's a lot of let go activation very specifically to release any kind of idea that you held a moment ago because you didn't even know you were holding on to it. So that is so lovely. All right, so thank you so much for your part in this today, for reading with us, to participating, and I hope to see you in the next episode. Thank you for everything. Bye for now.